All right, so good afternoon. So for those in the classroom and also for those online. All right, so for those online, probably now you can hear me now, right? So for this orientation, I try to introduce a little bit about the course. And then if you have any questions, you can just come to me personally, right? So it'll be easier that way, right? So welcome to the high performance building. So when you apply, do you know what are high performance building? Do you know? Or you just pick something you like, or something the other people introduced to you, or something you say, oh, probably easier to get enrolled, right? So let me explain a little bit about the high performance building so that you can expect what you can learn from this kind of course. All right. All right, so first of all, have you heard about green buildings? First of all, sustainable buildings. Probably in Chinese, probably you know, right? You see Jianzhu, right? So first of all, the first generation is green building. And then later, we have what we call a sustainable building. But those terms, probably you have some idea or not, right? Green building means something environmental, right? Probably you know, right? But environmental, one thing is environmental usually need money. You need to spend money in order to get it environmental, right? So later on, those economists and environmentalists are aware that, oh no, if you continue to pay money to keep it environmental, the world's resources will be exhausted somehow. So they develop another concept called sustainable. Sustainable means environmental, first of all. Then we have another two arms. The other arms is economic, because you need to have a balance between environmental and economic. And then one more dimension they need to look at is the social. Social means equity, to be equal share. Should not be all only resorted to the rich country or rich people. Should be kind of a fair share to those poor or socially disadvantaged groups. All right. So that's why they have a three arms, usually for sustainability. But you know, sustainability, probably you heard a lot about that, but sometimes it's too weak. Sustainable building is too weak. We need to make the building more environmental, economical, and also in a socially responsible way. This is too weak because it's too broad in a sense. So according to the US energy policy, now they try to narrow down the terms and the definition of sustainability to make it a new term called high performance building. You know, if like environmental, like air quality, like noise, it's others' responsibility. You will say that I like good air quality, but it's not my responsibility to uphold that. It's somebody else's job. It's not my job. So what should we do is, in that case, nobody cares. They only want to take advantage of them, but not doing something to protect them. So in order to do that, for high performance building, they come with a new definition is now, in order to make the developer to make a decision to build a building which is high performance in terms of energy efficiency, durability, life cycle performance, and occupant productivity, they also need to have some kind of benefit. They could not just spend money. You know, developer is very money-minded. One more dollar, they will be very cautious. But if they have some benefit, after all, they will consider them. So that's why we try to narrow down and make our building optimized. If we can optimize, then the occupant have more benefit, and the developer may have a higher price, sell at a higher price. So they also get benefits. So the motivation is better. If It's somebody's responsibility. It's not the developer to, well, who cares? I just build a house and sell it. Don't care, right? So that's why the US Energy Policy Act tried to more specific, make the definition of sustainability, narrow it down to make it what we call high performance in terms of energy efficiency. Actually now it's a little bit more than that. Energy can mean two aspects. One is renewable, like those from wind, like those from water, hydraulic, right? Or from solar. The other type is mainly from carbon. Nowadays, we talk about carbon efficiency. Try to reduce the carbon. This is one of the main aim of this course. We have a course to help you to do a carbon auditing, how to revamp our building design in order to make it using less carbon. This is very important, right? Durability. You know our building for Hong Kong, right? When we design the building for the public housing or office, for the residential block, usually it's 60 years. Have a lifespan of 60 years, right? So we cannot afford to tear it down 20 years, 30 years, right? So we need to make it more durable by selecting the right materials. And also the life cycle performance is very important, especially for those occupants. We cannot just using those cheap equipment in the beginning because to try to save the money. And then at the other time, over the life cycle, we need to replace it regularly. You replace it regularly and more frequently, then it costs money. Of course, the money is not from the developer, it's from the occupant. So what we try to do is we try to also look at from the whole life cycle. This is very important, right? For those speculative developers, no matter in China or in Hong Kong, usually just look at the initial money, initial capital invest in the building. They never look at the life cycle, right? So this is very important when we try to look into our building design. And of course, the productivity is also very important. That's why we need to study IEQ, indoor environmental quality. It includes now the indoor air quality, lighting quality, acoustic quality, right? This is very important. So we have courses try to help you to develop this kind of skill. So to be more comprehensive, include a lot of different items other than we just discussed, right? Sustainability, more broader terms, security, fire, safety, environment, energy conservation, right? So a little bit more comprehensive than what we just discussed before, right? So what are the characteristics of a high performance building? We try to provide a safe, comfortable, and efficient environment, right? It helps owners, occupants to achieve business missions. This gives the motivation to those owners or occupants to kind of live in the building or to work in the building. This is very important. You know, a lot of international company like those Citibank, or when they try to rent an office in Hong Kong, they will look into whether the internal environment is good for their employee or not. All right. So this is one of the very important dimensions. You need to look into that. And then we need to operate reliably. This is important. You cannot have downtime all the time, especially those having a network server, right? Once you're down, then you lose a lot of money. And then you need to enhance the organization and occupant performance and retain and increase value. This is also important, and maintain the performance within the acceptable tolerance. All right. Later on, we'll have go into more depth in courses, right? So what we do, try to measure that. How can we say, this is a high performance building or not? Now we still don't have a quite clear definitions called high performance building, but we try to develop along the directions. But we can make use of some of the guidelines, the current guidelines over the world. right? We can use lead. Have you heard about that? This is our environmental rating system developed in US. All right, try to rate, categorize the different environmental buildings into different types and performance types. We have also in Hong Kong, we have BIM Press. LEED probably they also in the past, I don't know now, right? In the past they use in China too. Some are LEED certified, right? If you ever been to the McDonald's in the railway station here, they also said LEED certified, right? Have you noticed that? I think it's a silver gray or something like that, right? They have a platinum gray, gold gray, silver gray, and bronze gray, right? So they have different standards we can follow in order to achieve the high performance building. Of course, up to now, there's no very definite list to be compiled. And then also, to some extent, we also try to get into a net zero energy. What do you mean by net zero? Is those energy generated, energy consumed by the building equal to the energy generated. How can we generate energy? Either by putting some renewable system, right? Of course, it's not enough, especially for the high-rise one. For low-rise properties, we can have a self-sufficient energy being generated. But for high-rise, usually, this is a target. But up to now, still not yet achieved yet. How can you have a 40-story with all the energy generated to compensate for those energy consumed? Up to now, it's not. Later on, probably if you have fuel cell, if you have other technology, then we can do that, right? So the pathway is something like that, right? So starting the first green building is BIM in UK. This is a tool to certify the green building. It started 1990, and then US followed and changed that, and then later on up to now we have a LEED developed by US, and then it become all the other way around, right? And also the World Green Building Council kind of developed to take and look after this issue, right? So it's a kind of a roadmap, but still developing. So let's give you some example of high performance building. Probably this kind of building, you've seen it before, right? With those glasses, glazing on the exterior, brick wall, nothing special, right? You can see that from different places over the world, right? So why is so special? Let's look at some examples here. All right, for example, this one is a federal center in US, all right? In Washington, in Seattle, all right? So what happened is they try to make it facing to the sun. All right, this is a cold area. So they try to receive some of the sunlight and make use of the sunlight to heat the interior, right? This is one of the passive design they're using. So later on, when you take some courses along those high performance building, you will have more chances and more exposure to that, right? So you can see they using sunshine and also those energy kind of ventilation system to ventilate those heat, because the heat, when you heat up the building or got warm air, it rise up because of the buoyancy. And then it go through this and exhaust. So you can take away some of the exhaust here, right? So they have different types of system to deal with the waste heat and also to absorb it. It depends on the weather, right? And the climate conditions, right? And also they will look at the day lighting, right? And also the ventilation system. So you can see, even though it seems to be just an ordinary building, but it enhances different types of system design in order to enhance the delivery of better air and also cool air inside. All right. And also they have some kind of biophilic design. Biophilic is a word which used to copy the nature. All right. The nature already tell us a lot of story how to protect themselves, right? So how can we make use of the nature to influence our building design? You know, our building design is artificial design, all are made by human, right? So how can we imitate the nature, the good thing of the nature, in order to help us to make it more efficient? This is what is called biophilic design. All right, so this is some example of that. We will not go into that. And nowadays, it's more and more buildings of this type involving in different parts of the world. In Japan, especially in Nordic countries, they are very sustainable. A lot of people like those are in Sweden, in Norway, they always kind of observe the environmental to greater extent than those Asian here, and even then American. When you try to look into those people in the world, Nordic countries, those Sweden landmark, they're the leader. They're always concerned about the environment. If ever you have a chance to go there, they have a lot of design to enhance the sustainability, right? Because they have a lot of resources. Comparatively, they have only a few populations, all right? For example, Norway, they only have 5 million. Hong Kong already got 7.2 to 7.3 million, right? So how can you compare the whole country? This is small. So in Hong Kong later on, if you ever take into some classes, like the classes I teach in the sustainability and built environment, we'll talk about that. Hong Kong is not that bad in terms of the sustainability because we have a high density development. Our energy consumption per capita is the lowest in the world. Of course, it's sacrificed for the area of living spaces. Right now, probably now you're living in a very small area, right? Compared with your hometown. Nothing you can compare. Wow, so small, right? So Hong Kong is like that because we have the density and also we have the efficiency. Have you ever been to somewhere in Hong Kong taking the MTR? Is it convenient? Have you tried? You know, in Hong Kong, it's very a good example of sustainability in that way is half an hour, we can go to the urban area. Half an hour, another half an hour, we can go to the countryside. It's completely different from the urban center, right? So you can probably later on, I'll take you out when the COVID is not that bad. I'll take you out. Usually once a year, I'll take my HPB student out for a visit. Go to Wanchai to kind of appreciate the historic environment or colonial environment, or go to something, have a good meal, right? Usually I'll take you to some local places to enjoy the environment in Hong Kong, right? So about the program, what are the specific aims? So probably you will ask a more practical questions, right? What's the aims? What are the aims of the program? Try to equip students with the advanced engineering knowledge, because in our courses we have a lot of system knowledge, like air conditioning system, like electrical system. This is important because system, if we try to push the performance of the system, it can help to improve the sustainability, right? So what we try to do is we try to equip students with some advanced engineering knowledge to try to achieve the HPB design. This is important. You know, in the beginning, we talk about efficiency, right? Performance. And we try to give some knowledge in the system to help you out to push the energy performance of the systems, and also to provide a foundation for the development of problem solutions. So some of them will give you some kind of projects to work on. Some of the courses like mine in 551H, this is sustainability and built environment. Usually I will give students have a good project to work on, to work together. Some from different backgrounds, some are engineering background, some are architecture background, some are maybe surveying background. So they just collaborate each other to give their line of thoughts, try to collaborate to work out a project. So by doing that, we instill a knowledge and interact with other disciplines. So that's what we try to encourage. Even in the group here, some may be from engineering, right? Some may be from architecture. Usually we take in some architecture students so that each have their own expertise, they can collaborate. So this is the main aim, not only focus on system. We need to focus on the system, but also we need to broaden our knowledge from the different perspective, engineering, architecture, surveying, all those related to that. Management also. This is the special characteristic of the course, all right? And then the target groups are already in there, so you know that now this should be a mix, right? And also we will admit some mechanical, electrical students. All right, now, the more thing you're interested is, you already asked, right? So the structure for this master program is very similar to the other program offered in this department, right? Like the building services department, right? We follow that 4-3-3 structure, right? Compulsory subject, no choice. This is your core strength. We will study building carbon footprint, building system performance, indoor environmental quality, and research methods, right? So this semester, you already signed up to, right? Mandatory, no choice. All right, and then we have a list of subjects for you to choose, usually 3 from this one, right? So you can register for whatever you want, free, right? For that, but also you have a choice for the elective subject, 3, right? This week can be any course from the faculty. Or I said, I'm interested in management faculty, the business one. I can go to that, provided that they have a road quota for you. They'll meet you, right? So also, this 3 can be here. Instead of just 3, you have pick 4, pick 5. It's up to you. Or pick from civil. Some will pick from like EIA, environmental impact assessment courses. Usually they do take that. And from our sister department, like information management, they would take some courses from that, right? So it's up to you. Depend on what you like. Your background, if it's engineering, probably you want more in management, you can do so. If your background is architecture, you want more engineering content, go for engineering content, right? So it will be up to you, right? If you have any problem in choosing the subject, come to me. All right, you can set an appointment privately, or you can see me as a group. Just make appointment with me. All right. Any questions so far? How many you register now? 3. I read your email, right? So our general office try to help you out to register for those core subjects, because right now the system won't allow them to do anything. So they will put you in the wait list, on your wait list. Later on, once they got vacancy or they increase the quota, they will let you in, right? But please check it from time to time, right? This is important because a lot of students try to fight for the same vacancy. But I already told the general office that our mainland, especially for you, mainland full-time student, we have priority. You only have 1 year to study, right? So you have priority. Part-timers have a less priority on that because they have a longer term of study, all right? All right, so for those 4 compulsory courses, 1 is concerned on the environment, building carbon footprint. As we said, carbon is one of the very important things, right? It causes global warming. All right, so building consume or produce, not consume, produce a lot of carbon because we're using the fossil fuel from the electricity plant, right? So how can we design our system such that we can reduce the carbon footprint? This is the whole aim of our building design. So we will look into the environment from this perspective under this course, building carbon footprint. This is the first semester course for you, right? You're going to take it on Friday, right? So I will cover part of that. The other one is system. As we said, system is also very important, especially for our building. We have a lot of system, mainly the active system and passive system. Passive system, like those window, we let them in without consuming energy. But for the active system, like the air conditioning now, you need to use energy, electricity, in order to make it work, right? To deliver the cold air. So how can we make our system perform better in a most optimized way? This is important. How can we optimize, right? This is important. This is the whole aim of this course. They will tell you how to optimize the different systems. Even within a system, they need to optimize. How can we optimize among different systems? Building contain a number of systems, air conditioning system, lighting system, audio system, right? So how can we optimize that? Environment system and the other one fall into the human beings. We should not only concern about environment. We should not only concern about the system. We also need to concern about ourselves. People are selfish. Sustainability without considering ourselves will doom to failure. Will you donate $1 million every day without concerning yourself? Probably not. Only maybe less than 1% will do that, right? So we need to cater for this kind of design. We need to also care about ourselves. How can we design a way that is more cost effective? How can we design in a way that it can benefit ourselves, the occupants? All right. That's why we have a course called Indoor Environmental Quality. You are going to take it in the second semester. I believe for the first semester, you take this too, right? You already registered for that, right? The other two will be taken in the second semester. Because this is only 3 core subjects. The other subject is research project. Because it's a master course, the university need to put into some kind of research element in the course. So next semester, we have a research course, all right, just 1 semester long. So you need to pick up some of the research skill in case your undergraduate study did not cover that, all right? And then, of course, the other important thing you need to concern is your graduation requirement. As I said, 433, this is the structure most of the students will take. But some of the full-timers like you, sometimes you say, I'll consider the dissertation, right? This dissertation can replace 3 elective subjects, right? It's a 9 credit course. So if you, because usually it lasts for 3 semesters. So some of the full-time students from England said, I want to take that, but be careful because it's a little bit risky. Research, you know, is try to find something you don't know. But the question is, sometimes it takes times, more than 2. If you too rush, don't risk that unless you're smart or you're lucky, right? So if you really want to take this option, talk to me first. Because you need to select a topic and also you need to find a supervisor. Some of the students didn't come to me in the past and then just take it and then kind of hang around for the whole semester without doing a thing. And then later on, they kind of panic. How can I finish it? Then they need to delay. So be cautious about that. If you really want to take, my advice is, first of all, take usually I advise you for the full-time student to take 5 courses first. Each semester 5 courses, right? Some students maybe are a little bit aggressive in the beginning, said 6. I have that student, right? Also from England before. And then the next semester 4, and then they try to target at jobs searching. You give him some more time for job searching, something like that, right? It depends, but usually 5.5 is good, right? Usually 5.5 will be good for you, right? So if you really want to take the dissertation option, talk to me first. But my advice is, first of all, fill up all the classes first, because classes are very difficult to compete in terms of the quota. Dissertation, once your supervisor agree to take you in, then you'll be okay. But the vacancy in courses, you should fight for it first. Later on, I decided to take the dissertation option. You can drop it later on, before the air drop, and finding the right supervisor. Right, do it that, all right? And then you really want to do the dissertation, come to me in the first week. Right, make an appointment, because may not all of you like it, right? Maybe one or two of you like that, email me and come to me, or WeChat me, right? There'll be better arrangement, right? Okay. So also for this course, right now is recognized by the RICS, Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, under the Environment and Building Surveying. But now it's changing because we're going for the reaccreditation, right? They also restructure their disciplines. So we'll go for something else. But right now we still recognize that because of the COVID, they cannot come for accreditation. And also the CIBSE in UK, Chartered Institute of Building Services Engineer. So we have also been accredited by the CIBSE. And also this one is also due for reaccreditation because of the COVID also, they could not come. All right, so I don't want to go into that. So usually, as I said before, usually I will take, especially the full-time student, out for meal, for walk. Sometimes we go to visit. Remember, this is just the class I most remember is the second year, the second cohort, or now it's the 8th cohort, right? At that cohort, they got 12 mainland students, right? Some went back to China and some stay here, but most of them now went back to China. Before they kind of stay here to work for a while, right? So this is the cohort, right? So every year we have different. This is the first one. We have a Mexican girl now. She got a PhD already, right? So yes, from different provinces, right? So this is it. I want to introduce. Any questions? Any question you want to ask me about the course, about anything? Also, for those online, any questions for me? You can pick up the mic if you want. So any question for me? You satisfied already? They're easy. About the course, about anything you want to know about Hong Kong, about other. How to apply for PhD? I think this is give you a chance. First of all, you know a little bit about Hong Kong, and then during the course, you kind of approach some supervisor, right, to see whether they have interest to take you in, and also whether you are interested in their research area. You need to have a match. All right. So, for example, if you take some of the courses offered by different professors, you know their discipline, and then sometimes you are very interested in their area. So probably you talk to them whether they have research money to support you, or whether you take you as a research student, something like that. So give you a chance to expose to the area and also to the individual professors. All right. So this is the way, because sometimes you impress him by doing very well in terms of their courses. They may remember you If they have vacancy or they have money, research money, they can take you in. Something like that. So of course, the closer to the professor, more chance you can get into his program, right? Any more questions? So 3, 6, 7. So you're all from mainland, right? Is that right? So then only one maybe kind of still in quarantine. Is that right? Okay. So now you know each of you? You know yourself? No? Okay. So later on you should have more chances because usually you work as a group. All right. Just like the first cohort, second cohort is like that. Right? Always work as a group, especially you're full-timers. You have a lot of chances to meet each other and then to help yourself. Because your first time to come to Hong Kong, probably you are not familiar with Hong Kong, right? Of course, Hong Kong now is a little bit different from earlier, right? But still, the structure is there. I advise you is to go out to see more Hong Kong. All right. Some will try the noodles, right? Wonton mian. Try it before. A lot of students from mainland, even my colleagues from the mainland, after living 20 years, they still don't like wonton mian. But people from Guangdong really like that, especially those alkaline in nature, right? So you can try different type of cuisines in Hong Kong. I think this is very important. It's a part of your study. You just not come just for sitting at home and then study or sitting in the hall and study. You should go out. A lot of even though now it's more like China, but still they got a lot of different things up to now, right? So you can go around, enjoy, especially you can go to the Peak, go to the Stanley Bay, go to the Lantau Island. You can have a different feel of Hong Kong. Do you feel different when you come to Hong Kong? Do you feel anything different in terms of the whatever? Huh? Nothing? Similar to China? Do you feel similar or different? You came here several times. So where are you from originally? Guangdong, okay. So close, right? But still, you still can see the difference, all right? How about you guys? First time in Hong Kong, what? It's very small when you're small, okay. Okay, so you can see that because we are locals, right? I can tell you that even you are on the in the Hong Kong Island and in Kowloon, you feel it's different. And also in new territories. People living in Hong Kong Island usually don't come to Kowloon side. They don't like this kind of Kowloon. It's too messy. In Hong Kong, it's kind of very concentrated, Hong Kong Island, very colonial in that way, well, westernized. Kowloon is a little bit local. And then when you come to the new territories part, it's totally different. The road are wider, right? So it's totally different. Usually people living in Kowloon, they kind of hang around in Kowloon. Of course, they can go out, right? But this is the main area. But also, if you go out to those countryside, Lantau Island or other places, you feel a lot of greenlands, a lot of parks there, which really enjoyable. If you go to the Tai O or whatever, you can enjoy that way. So don't just hide yourself in the room, right? This is my advice, especially even though we still have COVID-19, we still need to wear masks, but it's pretty safe, provided you got your hygiene, right? Go out to enjoy yourself. All right, this is one thing. And also when we try to look into the buildings here, in terms of the maintenance and operation, Hong Kong is one of the best places which upheld this kind of policy. We have some kind of British inherited system. And also we have some kind of Chinese way, kind of a very hardworking in that case, right? So you can see the buildings here, I think in my opinion, is better than China in terms of the maintenance, right? You can see if you go to the central, they got a lot of shopping mall, those high-end one, well maintained. Those are groups maintained by Swire, the British group, very good. In terms of quality, after 20 years, it's still very good. You know, most of the building in China is not like that, right? Even though they got the outlook, but somehow the maintenance still need improvement. All right. After that, this will be kind of deteriorating, that will be damaged, something like that, right? Here in Hong Kong is well maintained. Even you go to US, a lot of kind of poorly maintained building is everywhere. Even though you said, US is very advanced, but in terms of those hardware, it's not good, right? So in terms of building structure, Hong Kong is number one in that case, right? Of course, there are some kind of improvement too, right? So this also will affect that, even though we are not, but we are good in the maintenance, put it this way, but somehow we still need improvement in advancing our carbon efficiency. You know, in Hong Kong, 90% of the electricity go to buildings. We don't have service industry. We don't have, sorry, not services. We don't have manufacturing industry. So most of the building, most of the energy, especially electricity, end up in the building. So that's why it's a good area to study the building design. Of course, we have got a lot of restriction because of the denser area, but we should have a lot of experience on that. All right? Any question you want to ask me? Yeah.
Is it necessary for to choose this dissertation?
No, not necessary. Now, if you really want to take PhD, it doesn't mean that you need to change the dissertation right now. All you need to do is demonstrate somehow to the professor whether he want to take you in or you are interested in his area, that you are capable somehow like that. Or also, of course, it depends on whether he got the research funding to take you in, not necessarily to take the master. Any more questions? Any more questions you want to ask me? Where do you stay now? Hong Kong? You rent a small, what do we call, apartment, right? A partition home, right? Is that? So how can you find your apartment? You haven't been to Hong Kong? Huh? Online. Okay. So did you get surprised when you arrive at your apartment? Your room? So small? You never imagine like that, right? Yeah. A lot, even you know the African people, you know, we got our African PhD student before. He came here to study PhD. And then he said, what? A room like that? When he graduated, he said, I got a house in Africa, right? In Nigeria, if I remember correctly. It's like the whole room is like that. Here, smaller than his bathroom. But what can we say? Even regular Hong Kong citizen is only live in a very small room, right? Nothing can compare, even in Shenzhen, much bigger than those in Hong Kong, right? So, but enjoy those good things in Hong Kong, right? Especially, this is only 1 year, maybe just 9 months, but you still can pick up the difference, right? Hopefully, you can enjoy the course and get what you want in terms of the knowledge, in terms of experience. And you have any questions, you come to me, right? Don't be shy. You can come individually. I'm more than welcome to to kind of help you out, especially for the first year, not first year, first 2 months in Hong Kong. Sometimes it's not, you may not used to it, especially those from the Lofton part, right? Those from Heilongjiang, they said, Hong Kong is so cold in winter because we don't have heat. If it's very cold, like down to very seldom, down to 5 degrees at night, so like, right? But in the area, they have heat provision. But in Hong Kong, you can notice that air conditioning is very cold. Sometimes, in those tourist guide for the German people, I got a German friend, a German professor, came to me and said, I got a tourist book. Give me a tourist guide to read. What about it? He said, be careful to wear, to take a handkerchief and put it right in the leg. When you got sweating or you feel cold, you can take away the cool from the air conditioning because Hong Kong is very cool in those internal area, right? So it's very famous for that. We usually kind of cool down the area. In China, it's very warm, right? Talking about the internal area, talking about 25, 26 degrees, right? A lot of our research students or research assistant from China, usually they turn off the air conditioning in the afternoon in summer. Hong Kong people never accustomed to it. They will kind of yell, right? Because they're not used to that kind of environment. But if you turn to this kind of temperature like that, the mainland will complain, very cold. So it's different in the adaptation, right? So you kind of pick up that later on, right? So any more question about the registration, the cost? Any? You can ask in 普通话. It's okay. So tomorrow will be day after tomorrow will be the first lecture, right? Is that? So a lot of you take 5518, right? Sustainability and Built Environment, right? I'll see you on Tuesday. My class is on Tuesday evening. And then I'll taking some of it, the carbon footprint on Friday, but only a few lectures, right? For the 5518, the Sustainability and Built Environment, I will teach 70% of the course. All right, any more questions for me? So yeah, satisfied right now? So what are you going to do now? Have you tried dim sum before? From Shenzhen, probably she know, right? How about you guys? Have you tried dim sum before? You know Hong Kong is famous for dim sum, right? Do you know what is dim sum? Huh? Huh? What? Saga. Shrimp dumpling, right? 还有燒賣 right? Pork dumplings, right? 还有叉燒包. Have you tried it? So which province from you? Which is your hometown? 湖北、海南、珠江、上海. Guangxi, oh. Guangxi is also talk in Guangdonghua. Someone speak Guangdonghua. You cannot, right? Okay. Yeah, Guangxi also some speak Guangdonghua, right? Shenzhen. Guangdong, Wanfao. It's very close, right? How about your background? Engineering, architecture, or other? Conventional management. Engineering. Which type of engineering? Oh, building engineering. Civil engineering. Civil engineering. Building environment. Engineering, which type? Mechanical, electrical, or what type of engineering? Engineering, you said engineering, right? Mechanical or what? Mechanical engineering, electrical engineering? Mechanical. Okay. Okay. So already got a good mix here, right? Even though engineering still is the dominant one, but should have some other, like for the part-timer, some are from the facility management, some maybe from surveyor, and some from, well, should have some from architecture. No? Huh? I thought this should have, in your group should have 1 or 2 from architecture. Maybe 1? I don't know. He's a boy. But it's okay. Engineering, architecture, don't know, because we try to admit them. Some of them are architecture in background, right? Okay. Anyway, so enjoy your study. If you have any questions, you just let me know, all right? So how about those online? Any questions for me? Probably sleepy already, right? So last you this time for this cohort is a little bit better. You can allow to come to Hong Kong. For the last cohort, we only have 2 mainland students, 1 boy and 1 girl. For the first semester and the first half of the semester, they didn't come. So all the time is online. It's very boring, right? So after they came, they really enjoy it, but they only have 2 months left. Now they went back to China, right? So you are more lucky because you can come to Hong Kong. At least study abroad, kind of living away from your parents would be good, right? For some time, right? All right. So if you have any questions about the course, any question about your adaptation in Hong Kong, just let me know. All right. So thank you.